the energy.
Drinking a Drew Brew.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the pregame show, pregame lounge. Energy!
I'm back, baby.
Woo-hoo-hoo. We're back. Nuggets basketball is back.
Let's go.
We're presented, as always, by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can download it. You can use promo code DNVR. And regardless of what happens tonight, win or loss, you can make money, which is always a key when your team is in a tight spot. Just gamble on them.
You yourself can be a winner, regardless.
So true.
Imagine not using DraftKings when they're just like, does anyone want money? Anyone want money this week? We're giving it out.
Dude, you know what I like that reminds me of is like me every season of my life except for this one. And like, what was I doing? This is like when you got an iPhone and you're like, how did I get anywhere before? Like, did I make plans? What am I doing?
So true. Don't you think if you went back to like 1994, you'd be completely lost?
Yes.
If somebody just dropped you back off there, you'd be like, well, I don't know how to go anywhere.
I'd be 1 year old, so probably.
I'm not saying age-wise. I'm saying technology-wise.
Yeah, but like, people are like, hey, we're going to do something. Let's make elaborate plans. We're going to meet at the fountain at 1:15.
Oh, yeah, it's so true.
If anyone's not there, and then you're trying to find your friends, you're just calling houses. Is somebody there? They're not.
Call, collect.
And then you know what happens if you can't find them? You just hang out alone all night.
Happened a lot. Guys, I got a full panel I'm going to introduce here. I got Brendan Vogt. He is wearing curtains.
No, this is a floral shirt, and I happen to like it a lot.
I actually really like it, too. It's really nice. It's really
I've
nice.
had not one but 2 smoothies today, so all is well
dude.
in my corner of the
dude,
world.
Yeah. Brendan's on the rebound. Adam and I are descending deep into hell. But
So descending.
Brendan's skyrocketing to the top.
Over here, we're rocking Fraud City. Appropriate.
Apropos of everything.
Apropos of everything, it's D-Line Co.
Hey, guys. We were real depressed last night. I'm still pretty depressed, but I'm putting on a brave face. And I'm looking for a win tonight on DraftKings.
And then we brought in, because, of course, the Nuggets right now, it's misery. And so we had to bring in somebody that is steeped in misery and knows how to handle it and navigate it.
Misery.
PhD, our Rockies expert, Drew Creasman.
It's true. And that DraftKings stuff is, if anybody knows how to make a game that you know they're going to lose fun by betting at DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's what you do.
Yes, that's what you do,
Kind of what Drew does for a living.
Literally, it's like, well, they're going to lose, but the pitcher might get 6 strikeouts tonight.
Hey.
So, hey.
Then it makes it fun. We actually are going to, we have a little bit of optimism today, a little silver linings look. We're going to talk about how the Nuggets need to adjust. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not kid ourselves. They have a very, very, very difficult challenge ahead of them, an uphill climb, if you will.
We have an uphill. We're in
we
this
too.
together, folks.
We all are.
We're in this together, folks.
In all seriousness, though, I mean, we do have an uphill climb for it. And we're going to talk about some of the things the team can do to adjust play style, lineups, rotations, all of those different things. But first, we must get an update from Michael Malone and the Denver Nuggets about Will Barton and about the game tonight that has turned into a fiasco.
Yeah, Drew, you're playing tonight.
I was going to say, I didn't know. I saw the rosters came out. I was surprised to see my name on there, but when suit up, I'll get down there.
We need bodies.
The Nuggets are somehow the least injured team tonight in tonight's Rockets-Nuggets matchup.
Well, let's get to it. The game note started much earlier in the day when Will Barton III himself tweeted, quote, just a little setback, end quote, and he said he'll be back this season. Unfortunately, we then talked to Michael Malone a couple hours later, and a few hours later, I should say, and he said that he does not expect Barton back, quote, for the foreseeable future, unquote. Malone called it a, quote, pretty significant hamstring strain, unquote.
So how do we bridge the gap between these two statements?
I know.
Well, maybe it's only a grade 2 strain, and Barton was scared it would be worse. I don't know.
Maybe Mike Malone just can't see that far into the future. Maybe the foreseeable future, maybe really he's only got like a 2-week thing,
that's
and
a
then
relative
it's just
term.
darkness.
That is a relative term.
Yeah.
You're right. The foreseeable future is what he is able to foresee.
Yeah.
He has no foresight.
Honestly, in all seriousness, though, like I don't know what to make of that. I mean, look, you hear a pop. Hamstrings in general, like how long has Monte already been out? And then you talk about if this one could even be worse or as bad, it could be a bit. So I'm not optimistic. I more lean towards the Michael Malone.
Sure.
My foreseeable future also doesn't.
I mean, without being irresponsible, because obviously we're not doctors and we don't know Will Barton's situation, but there are benchmarks. Like 3 weeks for a grade 1 strain is pretty typical, and that's a best case. So depending on how you interpret pretty significant hamstring strain, I would buckle up for a pretty decent stretch here without Barton.
Yeah, that's tough. And there's only about 3 weeks left in the season, so we're not getting too far out. Anyway, it is good to see Will Barton at least optimistic, even if it's delusional. I don't know or what it is.
When Danilo Gallinari tore his ACL, he went to Vail and had some crazy doctor do some insane procedure, and he was like, a few days later, he was like, guess what, guys? We figured out this new thing. I'm going to be back. And I was like, yeah. He did not do it. In fact, it set him back so much farther by doing that crazy thing.
Can you imagine how crazy it would be if a player tore his ACL and just came back a few weeks later after some new surgery?
But I was like ready for it. I was like, what? Danilo Gallinari and the doctors in Vail have solved the human body? Yes. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm ready for that.
Hey,
man.
no, it's good to hear positivity from Barton, though, because I would understand if he was feeling down right now. Let's move on, though. Jamal Murray, Monte Morris, Will Barton, of course, all out. That's the injury report for Denver. We have the starters, Facundo Campazzo. PJ Dozier gets the nod alongside Facu.
All of their point guards are starting.
Yeah, Facu is the new Monte. PJ is the new Barton.
Yeah.
But Jokic is still the same Jokic.
Same one.
And then, of course, Gordon Porter Jokic. Houston down to just one guard tonight.
Wow.
They are starting Kenyon Martin
What
Jr.,
losers.
Kelly Olynyk, Tayshaun Tate,
Jason Tate.
Jayshawn Tate, and
former Nugget.
is that Aaron Brooks? That can't be right.
No.
Not
Armani
Brooks. That's
Brooks,
right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Aaron Brooks.
I don't know Houston starters because guys, Dante Exum, he's out for the season with a calf deal. Avery Bradley is out with an illness. Christian Wood is out with an ankle. John Wall is out. Sterling Brown is out. Eric Gordon is out. Kevin Porter Jr. is out. DJ Augustine is out. David Nwaba is out.
How many Porter Juniors are there?
There are 2 Porter Juniors, and these 2 Porter Juniors matched up a few games ago, and Houston possesses the lesser.
The lesser Porter Jr.
Yes.
We're confident in that.
On that point, can I make a bold prediction that I have for
Please,
tonight?
by all
It's
means.
very bold.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and I actually believe it.
Oh boy!
Let's go.
Career high for Michael Porter tonight.
Oh!
Career high.
Boom.
7 threes last game.
These are the times that try men's souls.
He's ready for it. I'm telling you, I feel it. A career night.
Drew may be too poetic for the NBA.
But you doing a little Thomas Paine in your NBA show?
we'll accept the pain, but
I'm looking forward already to the headlines that you guys are writing at the end when the Nuggets have pulled this thing off anyway. You know what I mean? Like you get into all the analytics and the reasons why they're screwed. Look, I understand
Like
people
logic,
are upset. Yeah, logic and reason and stats and
Yeah.
expert analysis. No. I'm talking about the sports movie.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm talking about the sports
freaking
movie
out,
that
dude.
comes out when this team overcomes it. And the first line of that Harrison Wind story that comes out and talking about this time right now. In
The
2
darkness.
weeks, they lost Jamal Murray. They lost Will Barton. They were a shell of themselves. But these are the people that rose to the occasion. This was the time when Michael Porter Jr.
It's like the
became
7, but
the
for 2 months, 3
superstar.
months.
dude,
Why not?
Yeah, this is
These are the times that try men's souls.
this is a man that's been covering the Rockies for quite some time. He's been
You
able
find
to
stuff.
You find stuff.
You find it.
What do you think about Michael Porter career high, though?
No, it's on the table because that's what Denver needs. Denver needs him to shoot, I think, 20-plus times.
I agree.
And
He will oblige.
the question is, how does it come? And you hope it's something connected to Jokic beyond just Jokic finding him open in the corner, which is a good result. But is there something they can develop that puts pressure on opposing defense, regardless of the other 3 guys on the court? That's what you want to get closer to. But just in terms of winning tonight's game, bombs away from Porter, right? Why not?
Not why not? Please,
Yeah.
please bombs away, Porter. Please, we need this. And I do think he will oblige. I mean, truly, like we said, he shot 9 3-pointers. He made 7. Maybe he shot more than that.
No, he shot 14. He was 7 of 14.
which is 50%, which is incredible. I mean, Michael
I got
Porter
my went home and my wife was like, and Porter couldn't make a 3 or something. And I was like, babe, he's 7-14. He was like, oh.
I know
They missed 7 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch
It's a
him
lot.
miss 7 shots.
that is a lot of threes. But Michael Porter Jr. is ready for this. I mean, he's been building
Yes.
for this. Like, he wants this. This is not something that he's like scared about. This is something he's excited about, to be able to be the guy.
And this is like, we can move to silver linings with this, because I think this is part of it. You lose Barton, Monte's on the horizon, or you still have Barton, Monte's on the horizon. You lost Jamal. But you're not going to change dramatically. It's like, hey, Monte's going to come back. We can do more or less the same stuff. We don't have quite the two-man game, but we're not going to change who we are. Monte's out, Barton's out. I think you just have to change who you are. And that's not a great thing for the team's chances this year. I mean, who knows what lies ahead, as you've referenced so poetically.
Foreseeable future.
Foreseeable future, who knows? But I do think that one of the things that just has to happen is Michael Porter, man, there's no bad shots anymore. I mean,
Nope.
There are. You still want to, like, figure out what's a good shot and what's a bad one, but who do you feel better taking shots right now other than Jokic and Michael Porter? Like, there's nobody else I even like taking shots.
The only person that I don't want taking shots is me, of Rocky later.
That's true.
But truly, like, last night when things were rough, there were various scenarios that would play out where the players were coming down the floor and we were like, what do we hope happens here? Michael Porter Jr. shoot. That seems like a great scenario. I hope that's one of the things that happens right now. PJ Dozier is a player that I feel like has the capability, although he's not consistent, he has the ability to catch fire and be MJ Dozier, or MVP Dozier.
It's MVPJ.
MVPJ Dozier.
You almost got it. Nailed it.
Well, I call him MJ Dozier. I like that better. But all the same, like, there are players that can step up and absolutely, like, find their way. And I don't know.
Do you agree with me that, Michael Porter almost has to adjust his game now to be more aggressive? It's funny, we've talked about it, but he spent a year suppressing his instincts, and it's like now it's just time to unleash them.
I wrote that in the player grades last night. Michael Malone spent this entire time trying to tame the beast inside Porter, and now the number one thing they need Porter to be is a walking bucket, right? So gloves off, training wheels off, tap back into that. The good news is that's what Porter knows first and foremost. That's what he does best. And so I bet a part of him is yes, sir, I can do that. And let's get ready tonight.
Another silver lining, this is a little bit of a weird one, but, we were very concerned about the seeding. Denver's got to be the 4 seed, Lakers 5. Maybe they can get up to the 3, whatever. Throw that out. At this moment, with the team as shorthanded as they are, I feel like it's less important than ever if the Nuggets are the 5, the 6, as long as they're not in the play-in, which is almost impossible, I think, for them. And maybe that takes a little bit of pressure off. Maybe that allows you to experiment a little bit more rather than just, hey, we got to win. However, just survive in advance. Now it's like, we got 12 games to prepare for the playoffs. How best can we use these 12 games to get there?
Yeah, and maybe we see some of those changes too, that, like, Malone's been pretty locked into, I need to win every game for that reason that you were just saying, that they had to fight for the 3, hold ground at the 4, and now it's a little bit, maybe he can be honest with himself about how Green and Millsap have worked out thus far, right? And if it's time to try out things with Najee and Bull.
Do you think that'll happen? Do you think that those two, it'll be the same front court?
I would lean towards expecting no changes, but maybe. I mean, maybe tonight's the night. Houston's an opponent you can get a little free with and loose with, and so we'll see. Yeah.
Nothing.
Get creative, man. I like, that's one of those things, like, what was the old Mike Tyson quote? Like, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Like, that's that.
We had a really great plan 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, managers and coaches
So
and, like, head coaches, like, really like to start the season off and have a big meeting with everybody and be like, this is who we are. This is our identity. This is how we play. And that all works great as long as certain things are going your way. But at some point, that doesn't work anymore. And I'll be very curious to see, Adam, you said it earlier, it's like, they can't play the same way they've been playing. You've got to find something else that's going to help you win. And I'll be very curious to see who steps up and if they have the flexibility to run with it. If Mike Malone particularly has the flexibility, because I'm discouraged by what Brendan is saying right now of this, like, don't expect too much creativity in the front court, because it's like, why? Like, at this point, what do you have to lose, right? It's like people watching Rockies games right now being like, don't bunt and try to steal bases. It's like, dude, why? What is the problem?
Yeah. Well, the troubling thing, and it's difficult because last night was just such an emotional wreck, I think, for everybody involved.
Including us.
Including, what do you mean?
Especially Eric.
Especially me. But the point being, like, I don't know. Malone probably rattled, was just sort of like, we got to get through this. But it was very weird that he left a bunch of players on the bench until it didn't matter anymore. Like, it's weird that Zeke Naji wasn't playing when Paul Millsap and JaMychal Green were so ineffective that JaVale McGee didn't touch the floor at all. Like,
do you think those guys will? I mean, that's one of the questions. JaVale, Bol, Zeke Naji. Do you think that those guys see some real meaningful minutes?
I have no idea. I mean,
I know you don't. I'm asking what you think.
I don't know. But the thing is like, what we're trying to do is predict Michael Malone. Like, I think that there's a right answer, and it's those players should absolutely play. You're asking me to, like, what do I think Michael Malone will do? I have no idea what he thinks. Like, he can be very stubborn about things, and he can also be like very adaptable. And like, you just kind of don't know. He's not good about making changes on the fly in a game. We've seen sort of over his tenure. So that would sort of explain no changes happening in the game last night. If nothing happens tonight, like, I'm confused by that.
So I was thinking about this as you were talking, but this is going to be real thought out. It's going to be real thought out take here. But no, I'm serious. So when the pandemic hit, we had like this momentum as a company. And when I say momentum, it's like we were finding a groove of a thing we were just kind of repeating and repeating. When the pandemic happened, we were forced to reinvent, and we created this show. Like, we create, and it wasn't like we picked the side to do that. And a lot of the things we tried early on didn't work. They were flops or failures or whatever. But sometimes when you're forced to like either die or try to find some new way that you don't see to solve a problem, you come up with something even better. And I don't know that I'm going to say Denver's going to find something even better, but I do think that they can find something that serves them very, very much going forward.
Yes, exactly. Let's be optimistic. Let's say, okay, they keep this gang together for at least next season, and Murray attacks rehab the way we all expect and maybe makes a nice recovery. Do Porter and Jokic hit that level where that's a third card in your pocket now? It's the end of the game. You're going to Murray and Jokic if you can, and he's healthy. But in the back of your pocket, you have that. You have that too, man. Do you learn so much more about PJ? Like, is the education of PJ Dozier ramped up to a point where he's much closer to the player you need him to be next year going forward?
PJ is like has a sneaky higher upside. We always talk about the upside of players on the teams like Michael Porter. PJ's not a star, but I do think he has like...
He's solid, man.
It's really good
who's
upside.
That next guy? Like, so if MPJ has to become a star now for this to work, right? Then who has to go from like
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
It's Aaron Gordon. But then PJ Dozier has to step into that role that Will Barton was playing.
Right. Because someone's got to be the guard, the other guard.
So that's sort of
Someone has 5 players out there on the court.
Kale's already ahead of us here. Expected changes. I mean, perfect timing on that, Kale. So, no, I'm saying he was perfect timing.
No, Kale, way to go. You did it again.
We missed you. Don't take any more nights off, buddy. That was a disaster.
Jeez. But we'll start with Aaron Gordon because this is a thing of like, okay, guys have to kind of change their game a little bit. I don't know if I necessarily want Aaron Gordon changing how much he shoots or this or that. I'd like to see him handle the ball a little bit more. I'd like to see him, maybe as a playmaker a little bit more. But more than anything, the team needs him to. I think Denver has to be great defensively. And to be great defensively, he's their best defensive player. He needs to become a guy that sets the tone on that end. And I wonder if there's a way Malone can challenge him, because when he came to this team, he wasn't a leader. He was leaving the leadership role in Orlando, and that maybe he didn't do such a great job of, and coming here where there was an established culture. But I wonder if he can be a guy that is a defensive leader.
Well, and you can galvanize that way, right? I mean, you can inspire through body language, and you can inspire energy in your teammates by locking down on D. Or even offensively, like you mentioned the second gear thing, just playing in first gear. The injuries that may or may not have taken a toll on him at this point in his career, still an elite athlete, still a guy that can kick on the burners and do some cool stuff on both sides of the ball that I think make both the fans in the building and the teammates alongside him sort of feel like, all right, let's go. And he can be a galvanizing type of talent. I'm with you, though. I don't think it looks like him just shooting more. I think it's him playing harder.
Yeah. For sure. But he does have it in him. Like, the thing that's difficult is that he just, I don't know. You don't always know.
Still learning Aaron Gordon.
The roles have been just so different from what we need them to be. So we don't. There's a lot of players we don't quite know what they look like in the role that they're going to be forced into.
Here's the thing with Aaron Gordon. I think that can be useful to him and to this Nuggets team is, it's easy to sort of phone it in and say, well, this was a bad luck year. And it doesn't matter. Like, we have more in the future or whatever. Aaron Gordon is 7 years into, we have more in the future. Like, when you're in Orlando on a bad team, every year is hey, this one doesn't count, but one day they'll start to count for you. And it's like, eventually you're out of years. And I think that there might be a little bit of, I don't know what Jokic's mind frame is or some of the guys, but there might be you can't win them all. This year's out the window. And it would be nice for him to be like, no, guys, like, you do that once, and then all of a sudden the next year's gone. Right. And you just keep losing years until you retire. And so there's something
dark.
Well, yeah, but that's what you have to do sometimes is look at the worst thing and say, hey, there's no sense in punting this. I just hope, we talked about it a lot, but Aaron Gordon just doesn't seem like a very intense guy, and I would love for him to become an intense guy for Denver in this specific moment. It's a great opportunity for him to say, like, hey, we can't punt this. Michael Porter, we talked about, ramping up the shots is a big part of it, like just unleashing him, but I would hope that unleashing him in this moment is different than had they unleashed him last January or whatever. Yeah. Because back then he didn't know what a good shot was or bad ones.
Dude, exactly.
So to him, every shot was available. Now it's like this many shots were available to you, but now it's like this many are. Okay, it's not all these ones. Cut those out. Dude, but you have there's a lot you can do.
You tame the stallion and then you allow it to run at full speed.
I don't think that's how you train horses, is it?
Yes. You have to break their will. And then so that they don't buck you off, they don't end up hurting you because they don't know their own power in relation to you, the human being. But then once you understand one another, then you say, horse.
Does anyone actually work with horses?
I have minimal experience, and I think he's close to accurate on this.
All right.
But
I am accurate.
We need an Alec Gwynn Photoshop of Jokic in the harness and then Porter Jr.
Taming of Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Horse Jr. Whatever.
It's very
Horse
weird. Jr. That's a good one. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm saying it's a weird Photoshop, but it's accurate.
Porter Jr.
So for him, and then for Jokic, the last one, it's a lot to ask of a guy to carry a team.
What do you do when you're already playing like at the best level of anybody in the league, and then it's like, okay, I need to take it up a notch?
Well, you know what it is that he needs to start producing points just all the time. Yeah. He needs to stop worrying about facilitating and just needs to be dominant in a way that wasn't actually helping the team that much early on. This is how he started off the year. He had a bunch of guys that didn't know how to play together, 7 new guys, integrating everybody, roles undefined. Jamal Murray wasn't playing well. Jokic just put up insane stat line after insane stat line after insane stat line, and it didn't only produce wins, but it kind of got the team rolling and kind of got the team going in the direction they needed to. And he's just, it's really unfair to Jokic, and it sucks that this is the position.
Totally
he's in,
unfair.
But he is now the full weight of this team now falls on his shoulders.
But he's done it, and I love that you brought that up. Is that this now? Maybe not with this personnel around him, but this is the reason Jokic is going to win MVP this year. That is the biggest change in my opinion. There were a lot, but that's the biggest change he made, was that he was more willing than ever to press that button, I'm calling my own number button. And it's going to need to happen going forward. That's also maybe good news for the MVP case. Maybe he has to put up big numbers.
Maybe it's good for news for him just in general, working on his scoring to being even a better scorer. Then when everybody comes back, you don't have to no longer be a great scorer. If you know how to just kick everybody's ass down on the low block, keep doing it,
Yeah, if Jokic just starts scoring 40 points a night.
It'd be great.
It would be awesome.
It'd be pretty great. All right, let's open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and let Eric lead us to
the
our
promised
winnings,
land?
to the promised land here.
Let's find out first.
The Nuggets are favored by 14.5, which
14.5.
Which after watching that game last night, I would never guess they'd ever be favored by 14.5.
You just gotta just read that Houston injury report again.
True.
Man.
It's
just
true.
Reread it to yourself.
It's the most.
I still don't like the 14.5.
14.5 is the largest number of points I've ever heard. I'm not going to bet that.
They're going to win by 12.
I know. The sad thing is they're going to win by 14. Actually,
right.
Yeah.
So stay far far away from that. That's
Yeah.
this is an old trapper.
The NBA is so dumb. Like, this is the end of the year tanking team that's just like,
Yeah, dude.
Christian Wood's out. Everybody's out. We're just going to play Jayshawn Tate tonight.
So
Stuff.
what are we left with?
There's might be a lot of these. This is why the Nuggets probably won't fall to the sevens, because they're going to have a bunch of games with teams doing this.
It's true. Like, this is a team that absolutely, under no circumstances, wants to win this game. Houston
so true.
does not want to win this game in any way, shape, or form. And, like, in fact, if they do, it'll be a disaster for them. So,
It's a solid matchup to have.
that's kind of what you're looking for at a day like today, where you just need a pick-me-up.
Stoppable object and a movable force. Stoppable force and a movable object.
Yeah.
So should we look? Adam is talking about a career high from Porter.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
I am.
So I was going to say, so what are we left with now that the ashes have settled? Like, we are left with Michael Porter Jr. or we are left with, Rymack hitting a home run. Let's go. Let's
go Rockies.
Left with Nikola Jokic, and so betting both of those players in
Jokic
any way
and
that you're
Porter?
able to is the way to go.
Are you talking points, or are you talking points, rebounds, assists?
I'm talking both. Points for Michael Porter Jr. over 21.5.
You got to do that.
Absolutely hit that. That's
I'm excited for Porter.
Nikola Jokic at 25.5, which is a little bit high for him, but all the same, like, bang that also. 3-pointers. DraftKings finally wised up. They stopped putting Michael Porter Jr. at 2.5 threes on this. Not only they wised up, they chickened out. He's not even available. You can't even bet on him. Michael Porter Jr. threes would be the absolute lock of the universe if it was on this. But I think that you can start to look at, the old reliables. Jokic rebounds.
Oh, that is all reliable.
Especially if Christian Wood is out. Like, I don't know who he's battling against to get rebounds. So you can really
You know what? I like that bet. Jokic rebounds. Yeah. A lot of rebounds available. A lot of missed shots.
And not
That's
only
the number one way to impact a game if you're trying to.
And not only that, Michael Porter Jr., in that same vein, his rebounds are set at 8.5.
Okay.
I would take that as well.
In the spirit of Dev, if anyone's feeling crazy, Kelly Olynyk double-double plus 310. Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk to double-double?
Yeah,
They'll
the
probably
spirit
get
of
the
Dev.
points.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to get the I guess there'll be a lot of rebounds, though.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of minutes. That's what I'm saying.
That's a lot of minutes. You're right.
He cannot rest.
All right. Ooh,
So-
that's a 310. You're right. That isn't a bad bet. I'll throw $2
Yeah.
on it. Why not? I'll get a little crazy over here.
Yeah, let's get nutty, shall we? I mean, those are the only bets I feel good about. Everything else is sort of weird and wonky. We don't really know what a lot of the roles are, but we do know, above all else, that Nikola Jokic is the MVP of this league, and we do know that Michael Porter Jr. is a natural scorer. So you can use both of those facts to make money.
I'm taking Michael Porter points, rebounds, and assists just because I think he's going to beat that mark with points.
Is it 30 and a half?
30 and a half. Like, I could see at
With
least 5
points.
rebounds, and he's going to have 26
Yeah.
points.
All right.
I'm feeling it for Michael Porter tonight. Don't let me down. Big time points.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Don't let me down, Michael Porter.
Full in on MPJ tonight. Again, it's the sports movie thing.
wanna
I'm
know.
sure, just whoever his person is, the leading actress
Yeah,
in the film of his life.
So
is
Drew-
just there, give it saying, "This is your time.
This is your time,
Michael."
Drew is
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
just
Mike.
whispering, "Yeah, Mike."
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Drew is a longtime
Yeah, Mike.
Nuggets fan that took some time off in the middle. I'm curious to hear what your take is on a player like Michael Porter Jr. now that you're being reintroduced to the world of the Nuggets.
No, it literally it's the type of player that gets you back into the sport, that gets you
Let's
back into
go.
the team. It's
I
like
love that.
I had a very similar experience with Cale Makar for the Avs. It's like I know Nathan McKinnon's fantastic. He
That's
was
hockey for you kids
a
at
star
home.
player when I arrived. So I show up going, okay, that's the guy, and I'm watching him and then you see Cale Makar going around doing all this stuff. You go, I've never seen anybody move like that.
Yep.
And the most recent Nuggets game back in the before time when we could go to games and stuff.
Yeah.
MPJ is like they lost. It was a stupid loss to the Pacers. They should not have lost. But MPJ was just like grabbing rebounds and like standing up above everybody and then turning around and taking that little jump shot that's just so beautiful and perfect. And you go, yep, this is the next generation. It's almost, Brendan will appreciate this. It's like the PS5. It's like going to that next generation of gaming things. Like you've been stuck. We've been in PS4 generation for a while, and I've been like, I see what the NBA is doing. Maybe I'll get into the next generation. This Steph Curry thing, this is fun. I see what the Warriors are doing. And then this MPJ guy comes in, and there are a few other players in the league, but I go, that's the next generation. This is the new era. This is the new hot thing. This is the new console. I got to get on board with this. And I really do think he's about to go off.
He's must-see TV. That's the top thing. And, Jokic, I think it takes a certain level of detail.
You have to learn basketball to understand.
It helps. And with Porter, you can just kind of, it's like you like to sit down and go, oh, spinny goal. In hockey,
Right.
with Porter, you can go, oh, the jump shot thing. I love that.
All right, well, we got to
He's
get
so
out of
big
here,
and
guys,
strong
because the
and
game
fast.
is getting ready. I see on altitude. We probably got about 3 minutes or so.
All right,
So switch it
let's
on
get
over.
outta here.
Hit the like button on your way out, guys, and we're going to be back Saturday night right here in the lounge. We'll see you then.
Let's go.